everybody. Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. All right, we have a letter. So let's dive right into this letter and see what she says. I'm writing you because of a past issue with my fiance's friend, now former friend. I am 30. My fiance is 32, and we've been together for 6 years and engaged for 1. We have ups and downs like every long-term couple does, but things are good. Prior to meeting my fiance, he struggled with drug addiction for about a year, but eventually went to rehab and has been clean for going on 10 years and was 4 years sober and employed when I met him. I can honestly say he's the man I want to grow old with. However, he had this one friend who's always overstepping boundaries. This friend has a podcast and asked me multiple times to come on his podcast. He even offered to pay me so he could interview me about my relationship on the podcast. Well, does he have a relationship channel? And he's looking to find content. Some podcasts, they need content. So they try to seek out people to come on the podcast so that they can interview them. But the only thing about that is you don't know what they're going to ask you on this podcast. It could be something embarrassing, something that you don't want to talk about. You understand? You don't want to be put off guard by going on somebody's podcast and you don't really know what they're going to be asking. Okay? When I said no, he acted offended and began asking all sorts of evasive questions. Well, now let's look at that. Why would he get offended when you said no? It seems to me if he was legitimate that he would just go on and try to find somebody else. But why get offended because you said no? That is something behind it. For example, he has asked me on multiple occasions what attracts me to my fiance. Why do I want to be with him? What do I want out of our relationship? What is my goal in being with him? And even asked me if I was with my fiance because the sex is good. Wow. He's getting pretty personal. You see, you don't want to go on his podcast and he asking you these kind of questions. I wouldn't do it. And plus, he was your fiance's friend, not your friend. You don't really know him like that. Okay? And already he's asking you these questions about your relationship. He asked these questions as if he had the right to and was upset that I refused to do an interview. Well, if he asking you as if he had a right to, somehow he felt like he had a right to you because of his friendship with your fiance. He look at it like it's some kind of package deal. Whoever the fiance takes in, where he feels privy to. That's no good. He continued to ask to interview me on his podcast and kept offering me money to do so, even raising the amount, and kept asking why I didn't want to go on his podcast. My fiance also told him to stop, but he refused to back off. So my fiance decided to cut that friend off for good, and things have been great. Well, did this just happen? If it just happened, watch it. Watch it. Because your fiance may know more about why this friend is acting this way than he's letting on. All right? And he could break it off, and it's not really broken off. How long was he with this friend? And I say that because in my last relationship, the guy that I was dating had a friend that was a pretty close friend. And when I came on the scene, it seemed like it was some disturbance in their friendship. He never came and approached me, really, but when I was in his presence, he treated me very flippant, like he was annoyed that I was there. Okay, so you have to watch out for that. And as it turns out, they had been in a sexual relationship together for years. Okay? All right. Sometimes I wonder what the hell was that guy's issue. I think I think your fiance knows. He's just not telling. Why did he want me on his podcast so bad? I think probably to embarrass you, to find out more things about you and put you on the spot. Why was he so invested in our relationship? I think because maybe he was jealous of it. Was he jealous? He could have been. As he remarked once, how I'm a good girlfriend and how lucky my fiance is to have me. How you know so much about what a good girlfriend you are, unless your fiance has been discussing you with him? How would he know? He seems to want me to view my fiance in a negative light, simply because he fell victim to addiction years ago, even though he overcame it. It sounds like he might want you to drop your fiance so that he and your fiance can resume their close friendship. Okay? Maybe you just came in between it. I believe that guy is jealous and phony. He claimed he wanted to get to know me, but I think he had ulterior motives. What do you think? I think your fiance is not telling you the whole story, if he's telling you anything. There's something going on with this friend, and he knows what it is. So he's probably talking to the friend, man, leave us alone. Lay off. But the friend's obsessed. The friend, it's according to how long they were together and if it was sexual. Okay, now let's look at this. Now let's look at the podcast guy first and see why he was so adamant about you going on the podcast. All right, he may have been fishing for gossip and drama. You see, because that will make his podcast more enticing because people like drama. So if he can bring you on kind of like a Jerry Springer crap, and then, people will watch and all of that. Okay? Some people love inserting themselves into other people's relationships, especially if they think they can get an exclusive story for attention, clicks, or personal curiosity. The podcast can be a convenient cover for prying. Okay? Now, here's another one. He may have had personal issues with your fiance. If there was any tension or jealousy between them, he could have been trying to dig up something embarrassing or test your fiance. So he can get all of the information about the relationship from your end. He's already got it from the fiance. He wants to hear what you got to say about it. Okay? If he's jealous that you and your fiance are together, and which means that maybe the fiance doesn't have as much time for him as he used to have, he could be jealous about that. Well, again, the podcast, he didn't want you on the podcast for a good reason. I really don't think so. It could have been inappropriate curiosity. You repeatedly saying no, and he is pressuring you for this podcast. I think it goes beyond the point of simple curiosity. He's really got an agenda. Why he wants to get you on that podcast. Now, this doesn't automatically mean a sexual history with your fiance, but it does suggest something more going on. Something's going on here. Possible rivalry or control tactic. Sometimes a friend who feels close to someone can react badly when that person commits to a partner. What they may do is push the boundaries so that they can cause confusion in your relationship. You see, so you'll go back fussing at your fiance about this man and, keep you up at nights arguing about him. He's in the middle of your relationship. Some people just like that, to kind of control his friend. Now, your fiance cutting him off is a great thing. But like I said, watch it. Watch it. Because when I was with the guy that was on the DL, him and his boyfriend broke up a lot of times while he was with me. I just thought it was friends falling out, but I thought it odd how many times you and your friend fall out. And the way that they fall out is if it was a man and a woman, not two men. Two men don't get that emotional. But things like that you need to watch. Okay? Here's a few signs that maybe you ought to peep that may point toward him being sexual with his friend. The friend is unusually interested in the fine details of your relationship. Why would he care? Why doesn't he go and seek his own relationship? These are grown people. These are not little teenage boys. Why is he so invested in your relationship? Think about it. Now, if they are in the same room, company, and that sort of thing, some people think, that they're going to show some sign that they're together. When I was with my DL man and he was in the company of his boyfriend, he did not pay any attention to him. He wasn't making it a point to be around him or close to him or anything like that. But it was his boyfriend that was totally flipping out the whole time. The whole time. And this was an occasion where my then boyfriend took me to a party that his boyfriend was having at his home. So there I am in the boyfriend's home, and the boyfriend was totally flipping out. I'm sure he did not expect for the man that I was dating to even bring me. Okay, maybe you can talk to your fiance to see how far their history together goes back to. How far? That has a lot to do with it too. Because, and check to see, did they ever live together? That's kind of important. Live together. I met a man and he says he lives with a guy. This guy is his roommate. Well, to me, that sounds like they're sleeping together. It doesn't sound like, they're just sharing an apartment. I think it would be a good idea to talk to your fiance. See, did they ever live together? Because the man that I dated did live together with his boyfriend for years. But I didn't put it together that they were sleeping together. I just thought, sharing an apartment. Well, no, they was actually sleeping together for years. Okay? So if I were you, I would sit down with my fiance and just be open. Ask him. Now, but you need to watch his body language, because if he has been sleeping with this dude, it's a lot of men they're not going to admit it. I know the man that I was with, he never admitted it. You understand? But your gut feeling will tell you if he has or not. By even with you asking the questions, notice his body language, know the way that he answers the question, and whether he is defensive or not when you ask him about this friend, because you wouldn't want to marry him and he has the tendency to sleep with men. You don't think that's going to come back and bite you in the behind? No. You see, me and my last, we were together for 5 years, lived together 1 year, and then I didn't find out that he was on the DL until we had broken up a couple of years, because he kept trying to come back and I kept digging and it all just came pouring out. So take your time. Don't be so quick to marry. You know, women, many of us, we want to get married so bad. Why? Why? Is it for security? Is it because you feel like if you marry somebody that they're going to be with you for a lifetime? Who told you that? And you can marry somebody and it's the wrong person for you, and he could destroy your life. So you really need to be cautious, be careful. Now, I realize from your letter that your focus is on the friend. Your focus should be on your fiance. The friend is irrelevant. It's your fiance. You want to know if he's holding back secrets about he and this friend. I hope you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps someone. Now, those of you who may have a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for your comments and your letters. And a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best. And I really hope to see you next time.